Whenever I come back here, I'm always struck with the same things. Look at these buildings. This was once a big, thriving, massively important place, but unfortunately it ended up on the wrong side of history. Now, the great wave of regeneration that's broken over Britain in the last 10 or 15 years has definitely improved things here, but perhaps not nearly enough. For one thing, Liverpool Riverside, the constituency we're now in, has recorded the lowest turnouts in both the last general elections. Behind all this, there's a story that takes in everything from the docks and their decline, through Thatcherism in the 1980s, to the Beatles. And here comes a man who can guide us through it all.
Liverpool I love with a passion. Liverpool will never vote Tory.
Liverpool Riverside is a really safe Labour seat. At its heart is the area of Toxteth, the kind of place that Labour would still like to think it speaks for.
How are you going to vote?
I'm not.
You're not going to vote?
No.
I wouldn't know because they're all crap.
Don't believe in it.
Don't really want to get with that. Over in the south.
Now we're going. Why don't you vote?
Don't see the point.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't followed this, so I don't know what's changed, to be honest.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that might have changed. It's 20 years ago, a job centre has been an absolutely awful place.
Still is now.
Really?
Yeah.
But it affects you. Hospitals, schools, jobs.
Yeah. My mum does it all, not me.
You'll be down the
Yeah,
polling station.
I'll be there.
Okay.
If I'm still alive.
This is Madryn Street in Toxteth, an old residential street which, as you can see, has all been boarded up. It's earmarked for demolition as part of the government's so-called Pathfinder scheme, much to a lot of local people's anger. And as far as I'm aware, this house here is number 9, which was the birthplace of Ringo Starr. He got out of this area and he now splits his time between Los Angeles and Monaco. Madryn Street and these other streets, it strikes me, there's the Magical Mystery Tour bus. A very strange turn of events. Anyway, this street and the other streets like it strike me as a metaphor, really, for Toxteth and the fact that politics here doesn't work. It's not connecting as far as people are concerned. It's closed down. It's not meaning anything to them. The Spectator, which was then edited by Boris Johnson, when it said those things about Liverpool being stuck in the past and introverted and self-pitying and all that, that really was a big story here, was it?
We laugh it off, things like that, like the hubcaps and the shell suits. You know, they can say what they like. We're still here. Come and see us. Come and have a day out with us, and we will show you a good time.
Ringo Starr said that Liverpudlians were the rubber men of Britain. You could throw them down and they just bounced back up again.
That's true. That's true. Right, this is the Eldonian Village Hall.
A good example of the great rubbery spirit of Liverpool. This is somewhere that bounced back, right?
This was the St. Lars Sugar Refinery, which employed a lot of families from this area. And it then, when it closed, obviously there was 6 and 7, maybe 8 people from one family made redundant. Absolutely devastated the area. What they left was a poisoned piece of land. And obviously we wanted to keep the community together because of the council policies wanting to disperse us to 4 corners of the city. And we made a bid for this land. We got an option on the land. Eventually we put it together and you can see what the outcome is now. We've got the Eldonian Village. We formed housing cooperatives.
Right.
And to me, my God, I was absolutely amazed how it brings people together, people getting out and enjoying themselves. So tenants actually control this site.
So things are put to the vote a lot here?
Oh yes. If we want to change policies, we want to implement policies, it has to go to a general meeting of the tenants.
Right. So you've got a proper model of grassroots democracy.
Exactly, yeah.
Right,
exactly.
okay. Now, big question. We're in a constituency which, at the last 2 elections, has recorded the lowest turnouts in Britain. What happens here in terms of people voting in the election?
I think people have learned, mainly because of the past, they've got a responsibility to their own area. I also believe that they've learned to get out there, and obviously if the politics of how the city is run is important.
You can't complain about anything if you don't vote, can you?
Right.
It's one voice that everybody has and they're entitled to do it, and obviously some people just can't be bothered.
The polling station is just over there.
That's right, yeah.
Come election day, what, you got queues going around the block? How's it work?
Oh no, we're not queues down the block, but we get from steady drift all day long, but you'll find that the older this area, the older the Kirkdale was, that will get the most votes.
In the 1980s, Liverpool was briefly a byword for a very feisty kind of politics when the hard-left Labour City Council squared up to the Thatcher government. Even now, it's surprisingly easy to get a sense of that battle's lingering legacy.
I think it's self-serving, and I don't think they're in anyone's interest but themselves, so I don't vote.
What's your recollection of this city in the 80s?
Riots,
Right.
complaints, Distrust.
Distrust of who?
Mrs Thatcher and Derek Hatton, basically.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Derek Hatton wanted locking up. He was too far to the left. But I think the Tories, if they get in, they'll just go and do the usual.
And you'll go like that, then Liverpool will be back in trouble again.
Back in trouble again.
Well, maybe if they get in, you could do with another Derek Hatton to take the fight to him.
I don't think so. I don't think they need another
You don't
one
want
of him.
You don't want Dexy
No,
back?
no, we could say in Spain where he's trying to sell his houses and his golf course. There's a good one.
And this is the Casa Bar, bought by the Dockers.
The Casa Club is another example of the city's rubbery spirit. When scores of dockers were sacked for refusing to cross a picket line, they pulled their severance pay to buy this place. Inside are two trade union veterans, ex-docker Andy and his friend Eddie, who agreed to take us back into Liverpool's lost industrial past.
It was rough for Liverpool at the time, but Derek Hatton seemed to be showing a bit of leadership and a bit of fight back. Because with the attack of Maggie Thatcher, and then she took it personal and said, like, hit Liverpool, draw more work away from Liverpool, you know, to make it a desert land. And that's what she done. So people started getting the back up and resistance to fight. You know, it's in the Liverpool people to fight back.
I don't know whether we've got the political firebrands in this city anymore. You want leadership, don't you? You know, from the unions you need leadership.
Yeah.
You want leadership, firebrand, opposed to Tories, opposed to Cameron, coming out and saying, I'm opposed to you. I'm opposed to whatever you, all your old Etonians and your shadow cabinets. I'm against all yous, and I'm going to try and get the younger people under 25s to join my union. When I was young, most people were in the union shop steward, branch secretary, activist, whatever they were involved in the union. Now they don't seem to be interested in unions.
No, because I guess because of the way people are employed. If you work in Liverpool 1 in the shopping centre, you're not going to be in a trade union. It takes away, really, the sort of bridge between people's working lives and politics to some extent.
Yeah, you're right there. Well, in the 60s when I started, the queues along this dock road here.
There was 500,000 people working on this road. Girls, the Tatum Lyles, all the docks, everyone was working. There was pubs, there was industries coming off the working people, everyone was working.
Do you think anything will happen here with these buildings and what have you?
Well,
Will it be regenerated?
Some yuppie might come in and make them into flats. What good is that to the young lads, kids of Liverpool or the people of Liverpool? What good is
What are
that
you going
for
to
people?
get? Museums and shops?
Museums and shops and maybe, as I say, probably flats.
What would you say to the 18-year-old who just won't have it, that it's worth voting?
Well, as I say, you know, the first thing they say, why should I? And then you've got to give them the argument why they should, about the struggle to get a Labour Party in the first place. But then they're going to say, well, you know, what are you doing for me? And I'm unemployed. There's no job opportunities. There's no apprenticeships. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, the kids that want to get on will do the best to get on, but they have to struggle.
So you understand why they don't feel any real connection to politics?
Understand. Well, but as I say, look at the decline in here. As I say, there was 500,000 people. You know, you've got to get that in your head. We're working in this area, on this road. There's no work. Where is the work?
Lime Street Station, please, Phil.